Okay, this is Michael. Welcome back in part 2 of Free Energy Friday of Nikola Tesla's Pierce Arrow. So, to start where we left off, so we're talking about the basically the spark gap. Spark gap is basically the plasma with the potential behind it, is really what we're talking about. Nikola Tesla's Pierce Arrow basically received the initial signal, amplified it, and then turned it into a potential to make the spark or whatever, to make the not the spark but the he was using rarefied air. If you go back in Nikola Tesla's work, you can find that he was experimenting with something called the carbon button lamp, and it is also referred to as the rotating brush in other writings. And it basically consisted of a vacuum tube light that had a carbon button. So it's basically a button, or just a little ball of carbon with a lead in a vacuum chamber. And he'd see that it would, much like the lightning ball, it would like emit a white glowing light with little, in the rotating brush case, with like needle-like rays coming off of it, like such. And so it's a rotating brush. I'll also write that down. A rotating, brush. Forgot that. So it's the carbon button. It was the rotating brush, and it would emit this weird glowing white light, and that he was fascinated by. And I think he also patented that, and considered using it for a type of lighting device. But he found that in photographic processes that it didn't actually show up on like photo paper, that you'd have to use like a really long exposure to get it to actually show up, which is weird. So it didn't behave quite like normal light would, at least photographically speaking. So that was something that he noted. So basically with the Pierce Arrow, we're looking at the plasma ball as being the secret vacuum tube. So with the rotating brush, or the carbon button, we're looking at a rarefied air or a noble gas carbon button lamp, and he used special capacitors that looked just like these, and they had like a foil either on the inside or the outside. I don't know if they were lamps specifically, or if they were as capacitors, and they acted as such, or maybe they were both. I actually can't remember. So look them up either as capacitors or lamps that had a foil on one side of the bulb, and then the button on the inside, and those were I think they were used as lamps. So they're basically capacitors with the rotating brush on the inside. Yeah, and they were used as the or carbon button lamps. Carbon button lamps. Yeah, with the foil on it, and they were also function as capacitors. So this would actually create the special tube that goes on his Pierce Arrow, because this would create the bunching, the special impulse that Nikola Tesla was trying to create, that would go forward without going backwards. Again, the bunching DC effect, creating like a high voltage or just a spark gap impulse that Nikola Tesla was so adamant about. That a spark that goes forward but not backwards, like a bunching effect, like into an inductance, and like you said, it would create like these weird blue sparks that would, or dartlets, I guess, that could actually kill people around them if not controlled properly. So this is the point of the plasma ball, is that it would contain it. It would send out the weird, eerie rays or brushes, as he called them, the eerie lights, and if you create an inductance or a ground on the other side, it would transmit across to it. And so I've seen this video on YouTube. It was actually pretty recent, and it was a person that was using a plasma ball to light like lamps. He was using a 5-watt plasma ball, and I'll see if I can find it again and put a link on this video. He was using a plasma ball, and he's lighting up like more than 5-watt lamps, a couple of them LEDs, and I think a fluorescent one maybe, and it didn't light up all the way, but as soon as he like touched it or like put it to a ground, it lighted all of them up. It lit all of them up, and with that he was able to exceed 5 watts in energy, obviously, and it was quite amazing. So like that's the type of setup we're looking at. He's using the plasma ball or Tesla ball or lightning ball, the carbon button, with the foil on it or in it. I think it's on it, and then going to the load, and then to the ground, and we want to ground it. Oops. To load, to ground. Coffee. Okay, so I think that pretty much covers it. So I know that's kind of a lot to take in. It's a lot simpler than they make it out to be, and you know it's a big deal. So he's basically converting it to radiant energy, the radiant energy that he talks about a lot. There's a lot of ways to do it, but the simplest way is, well, I guess we don't go over like how this is a circuit as much. We kind of leave this as a black box. But if we're talking about that as a circuit, oops, what was that? It's basically a transformer and a high frequency dynamo. High voltage. So it's a high frequency, high voltage oscillator, and then it's just grounded and open, and then you have the gas, noble gas, and that's the circuit. Okay, so you have oscillator, and you know a DC source, or AC rather. Sorry, AC source. You have an AC source. I don't know if it converts to, yeah, it probably does. DC oscillator. AC source, DC oscillator. It was a high frequency, high voltage. No, it wouldn't be it. Yeah, it would be a AC source. AC. It probably does DC in between, because it's you know probably has like a wall connection thing on it that makes it DC. So because AC, so it's an AC source. You know, you plug it into the wall. and has that box on it, you know, that wall wart. So it goes to DC, and that creates a DC AC oscillator, high voltage, high frequency, and then it has like the, you know, the normal Tesla tower setup, where it has the you know, Tesla coil, sort of stuff, with the noble gas. Oops, I'm sorry, way out of frame. Okay, okay, sorry, I'll go over that again. Okay, so what you have is a AC source, which is basically your wall voltage. It gets converted to DC because you have the wall wart, and then you have an AC oscillator, which is what creates the signal for it. That's fed into a transformer, which creates a high voltage, high frequency signal. Then you have the Tesla coil, which is basically leads to the ball with one end in the globe, one end grounded, and that creates, and the one end that's at the end is the noble gas, and that creates the lightning effects. So that's what we're looking at if you want to build your own one, in that case. So then we have, in the case of Tesla's car, you have some sort of conductor around the outside of the globe, and that leads off to your load, and then to ground. So that's Tesla's car in a nutshell. And this is just to get the signal for free energy. Yeah, that's just the receiver, basically, for the natural signal. Like it'd be like the Earth's the Schumann resonance, or the other magnetic field signals. Tesla called it a terrestrial wave. Tesla called it a terrestrial wave when he was researching it. He said he was able to send signals, you know, around the globe, and receive it back. But he also detected terrestrial waves. So that's probably what he was working with when he had this set up, is receiving those and then converting them into usable voltage, high voltage, high frequency, and then through his button converter into the radiant energy source. So I think that does it for this subject, and have a good day, and I'll see you on the next video.